Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of E-Heroes for those keeping count. This is episode 392, and my next guest, this is her fourth appearance. First one going all the way back to episode 43. That was
Wow.
recorded in July of 2019, and then the last one, which was episode 357, I think, and that was recorded last year in August of 2025. But since then, she's taken some time off. She stepped away from the business, came back with renewed energy. And so I want to welcome back Lee Milteer, my friend and longtime mentor. And I'm just glad you're here.
Well, thank you so much, Rob. And boy, am I impressed that you can have all that information of the first time and last time. Yeah, last July is the last time, and that was July was the beginning of me waking up to I need to change my life.
Hmm.
So I pulled the trigger actually to take 6 months off. I gave everybody the notice and cancellations in August that at the end of September I would no longer be available. So I canceled I had two memberships. I canceled my coaching clients. I let my speaking engagement people know that I would complete these, but that there wouldn't be a lot of afterwards. And so it's been a while, 6 months.
And what did you do in those 6 months if it wasn't business?
Well, first I just tried to figure out how, let's say, normal people live without the Groundhog's Day pressure. I had Millionaire Smarts, which is a content for you program done for 22 years. And I think that's 280 some months in a row. And each month was like writing a book and, finding a great author and then recording and then creating reports and then delivering them. And I'd have like 2 days between delivering all this wonderful stuff to all these great clients before I had to start all over again. So it never really meant that for 22 years almost, I hardly had no vacation because, when the cat's away, the mouse will play kind of thing. And so in the beginning, what I did was just attempt to relax. And wow, it's shocking for someone who's an entrepreneur and a business owner and has some fingers in a lot of things to try to relax. So I had honest conversations with my staff, and I kept part-time to do certain things and fill certain things they needed to do. But I would say the first couple of months, all I did was like have a life, get up in the morning, walk on the beach, play with the dog, go horseback riding,
Oh, that
read a
that
lot
sounds
more.
awful.
It's just amazing. I did some traveling around, and I didn't travel actually as sort of vacation. I traveled more of, I really wanted to open up my mind, my heart, and my soul of, since I was, boredom is really not the right word, but feeling stifled would be the
Mhm.
right word. It's this, people know me in a certain way and I have great talents doing what I do. It's not like a new talent's going to pop up. I'm going to become a nurse or something. That's not going to happen. But I really wanted to have a new adventure. And
Mhm.
so I went to different places and meditation retreats and wandered around. I spent some time in Tucson, Arizona, spent some time in Florida, spent some time just thinking about, well, I've lived in Virginia Beach, Virginia all these years. What if? And that was really the question I asked myself every day is, well, what if I did this? Or what if I did that? And I will tell you that after working very hard for a very long time, I amassed enough resources that I could take the time off, that I could relax and not be freaked out about what was happening. And I'm always been a person who lives beneath my means.
Mhm.
And so it was just a wonderful 6 months of self-journaling. I did a lot of journaling. I did a lot of reading. but primarily I just wanted to reawaken myself.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, I guess in February I started coming back. Oh, by the way, I did not miss social media one friggin' minute. I was so relieved to get off the performing, the competition, the begging for attention,
Mm-hmm.
the all the tricks of the trade to get likes and to get this and to get that. It was such a relief to not be part of the political field, not be part of any of that. And when I came back, I actually felt a little sad that I had come back, because all of a sudden it was just all blaring again.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, quite transparent, was actually shocked at the hours since 2009 when I got on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
The hours, it seems like years of devoting to Facebook, social media.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you get from it?
Right.
I mean, maybe we sold a few books. I cannot guarantee you I ever got a speaking engagement from social media. I certainly got a lot of heartburn from social media. And it's not that I'm telling people to get off social media. I'm just warning people who are entrepreneurs who come and watch your show that this is just not the secret.
No.
It is not the secret. And again, we think that we always are on as entrepreneurs. 365 days a year, a client pops up, calls, texts, and suddenly we're just all over them.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there are times in businesses that need that, but when do you draw the line in life to actually say, there are more years behind me than ahead of me? And what rendition, improvement, upgrade do I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And do I actually listen to myself, or do I listen to this huge group of voices from other people to determine, is my life good or not?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of really soul searching questions. And now I'm just taking all of it with sort of a sense of humor, that I'm glad I took the 6 months off. I'm looking forward to figure out how to take another 6 months off. And, you know, my good friend Dan Kennedy would call occasionally and go, well, how's the sabbatical walk around going on? And I'm going, it's really fantastic. And he said, well, don't you miss it? And I said, well, let me give you an example. My last two big speaking engagements, traveling to Dallas, Texas to headline at Magnetic Marketing, I was 9 hours late leaving the terminal that I had to sit there for
Mm-hmm.
a direct flight of 3 hours, 9 hours waiting. And then on the way back, it was 8.5 hours waiting for a direct flight
Mm-hmm.
to get back to Norfolk, Virginia. And then the next big speaking engagement, a month later in Memphis, Tennessee, I got caught in a tornado, and I'm in the presidential suite, which was all glass, and lived in the basement of the hotel with no no electricity, no internet for 3 days. Okay, so we did speak. However, the speaking was with lanterns and no microphone and stuff like that. But I think the thing, Rob, that really tilted me towards taking the 6 months off was when I left Nashville, which is a beautiful place, and it's a gorgeous day after the big storm, and I am landing in Chicago to transfer to come to my hometown, and I'm in I'm watching us, and the wheels are going down. We're 15 feet off the ground when all of a sudden we went straight up in the air. We were almost in a midair conclusion. How do you say that word? Wreck. And I remember as we were going up, and I've been in a lot of airplane confusion in my life, but this time I really actually thought this was it.
Mm-hmm.
This was me buying the farm. And I wasn't afraid, but I was kind of sad that I had not lived my life putting me as a priority versus everybody else on earth is a priority. Well, fortunately, as you can tell, I survived the near crash, and it was on the news and everything in Chicago about it was the air traffic controllers situation, which I won't go into because anybody who's on Rob's program actually knows what that problem is.
Mhm.
And so I'm following two flight attendants as we're rushing to the next place, and both of them said, I could hear them. I mean, I'm like, a foot away from them, behind them, and both of them said, I have to quit. This is the third almost air crash I've been in the last 6 months, and
Mhm.
this is insane. And I really, that was the cherry on the cake, that all of this happening at one time that made me say, well, what if I'd have died there and
Mhm.
actually did not live the life that I want to live,
Mhm.
which is do some stuff for myself, not always be marketing, not always be writing, not always be dressed up for other people's, you know, pleasure. I'm just honest. I was almost broken at that point of, I really have to sit back and look at life and ask myself, what is it I really want to do?
Mhm.
And I live on the beach. And I really started thinking about growing up where I had horses and a lot of animals and how happy I was with that. So I really am considering getting some horses again
Mhm.
and doing some things that are good for me. And I don't want to be on a schedule that every month there has to be a whole new genius topic of
Right.
something that I have to pour myself into. And so that's the short version, but I'm very happy I did it. I'm considering writing a book on stepping away and how powerful that is because it's fresh in my mind.
Mhm.
And there was a little bit of grief actually that I suffered for letting everything go.
Mhm.
And I did have clients mad at me because I had provided them content for 20 some years. And they used to joke, if you ever decide to retire or quit, you must give me 6 months in advance. And I gave them 45 days.
Mhm.
But I felt like 45 days, you'll be just fine.
That's 45 days more than I would have given them. Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll get over it. And I I am not going to tell you what I'm going to do in the future because that just depends.
Yeah.
And you've heard me speak, and one of the things I've always said is opportunities come to me.
Mhm.
And my great talent in life has been as the many things sort of cross in front of you that you could do, might want to do, I always know the right little sweet spot for me to take action on. And
Mhm.
when I take action, they manifest. And I've had a lot of people criticize me saying this, but right now I know another opportunity is going to come by. I will recognize it and I'll be right back on board,
Mhm.
excited about it. But shifting up my life has shifted many things. For example, um, you jokingly said before we started that you saw I was selling stuff on Marketplace, and I was like, "How did you even know that?" But anyway, yeah, I mean, when you really start to look at your life, I mean, do I need 50 suits anymore? No, I really don't. I mean, I like suits, but I don't need. I literally had over 50 suits and high heels and everything to go with that. And so I donated a great deal of that stuff to people who are trying to interview for jobs who need suits,
Mhm.
and just let things go that are just there but don't have any meaning. They don't have a purpose. They're
Mhm.
just stuff you have.
Yeah.
And think about all the gifts that we get from crazy people who we think that know us, but have you met me and you gave me this kind of thing? Just let that stuff
Yeah.
go.
Speaking of gifts, I still have your $1 million
Oh,
bill up here on my shelf.
yeah,
And
I
it
still
stays
have
up
those.
there. It reminds me every day that not only of the contributions you've given to the entrepreneurial world, but you know, there's times in life where, yes, stepping away, um, can lead to our biggest breakthroughs, not just because we stepped away, but because we faced that frustration and we came back with something more powerful.
Yes, and I do believe that we have phases in life.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I've done a lot of things. I kind of started my life off as a rock and roll disc jockey, which got lured into sales, which was really my sweet spot. I really can sell anything I want as long as I believe in it, because I know how to control energy. And enthusiasm and excitement and belief in something is a better influencer than forcing people to do things.
Right.
And then was in commercial real estate, which, to be honest with you, did not like at all. And but that one misstep, I thought at the time of being in commercial real estate, was actually the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because I did speaking. And then all of a sudden, the universe or God, however you want to term that, is always talking to you through symbols.
Hmm.
And people started saying, you really should be a professional speaker. And I thought, are you insane? I mean, what? Why? Why do you say that? And then I just jumped into speaking, and it was a hard 5 years of getting that going.
Hmm.
But once it went like rockets for
Right.
me. And then people started saying you should write, and I used to think, I could hardly get a term paper out in school. I don't think writing is my thing. But
That's
then
how I was too. And I wrote one book in 2013, which now has turned into 65 plus books.
exactly. So everything is mindset.
Hmm.
So I really do listen to, I have a spiritual part of me that's very strong. I really listen to that inner part. And that inner part was saying it's time to step away. There's something greater coming for you, but you have to shift your ID. You have to let the old identity that you have held on to for so long go,
Hmm.
so you can see what will naturally occur. And in the 6 months, I read a lot of biographies and a lot of spiritual books. I did not read business books at all. I just said, my whole life for all these years has been business books, business books. And people would say, well, what good fiction book have you written, or not written, but read lately? And I'm like, none. Who
Hmm.
has time for that? And so, not that I read very much fiction, but I read a great deal of spiritual books on just allowing yourself to be. Why do we always have to prove ourselves all the time? It's exhausting.
Hmm. Yeah, behind all these business books, the one book that I favor, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Just totally absurd.
I know, I've
Uh,
got that book.
but the writing is just phenomenal, and it gets me to think.
While I did read your book again, the Legacy book, and I really loved it, because even though you're talking about building, but you're really talking about your legacy. And I, I,
Yeah,
by the way, it's hard to tell, but I probably gave away 300 books. I mean, because I have all these kind of bookcases everywhere. I mean, my husband keeps saying, "You got to get rid of this addiction you have." And I'm like, "No, I love it."
I can't even tell you the last time I even bought a book. Everybody just sends me their books, where they'll say, "Hey, Rob, can you write the foreword to my book?" And it's a privilege to do that. I feel honored. Um, and I've gotten to the ability that I can read a book in about an hour, because I speed read. But it's yeah. I This is just a fraction of the books that I have, and every year I go through them and I give them away.
Well, I have been. Uh, I will say that in the 6 months, I went to the donation place around 3 times a week. I have donated and donated and donated so much stuff to, because if you have a lot of stuff, one, it has to be insured, clean, dusted. You got to remember where it is. But if you really lighten the load, it feels, I mean, life energetically feels better. So
Hmm.
when I wake up in the morning, during those 6 months, I actually would smile and go, I can do anything I want today. What a concept.
Mhm.
what an incredible concept. I can do anything I want.
Yeah.
So what do I want to do today?
Yeah.
So it's
And
been a lot of
that
fun.
that is the evolution of entrepreneurship. We created these businesses to fund our personal life, and yet we've used our personal life to fund the business.
But well said. Very well said. And you do know many entrepreneurs who actually die still hustling, working way too hard, too many hours. And I really asked myself this question about our identity, our how we think of ourselves. How do you identify yourself? So if you're just identifying yourself as a worker every day, you've created these habits, and that automatically your first thing is to work. I also realized something about myself is that accomplishing things made me feel really good.
Hmm.
But was I accomplishing them to feel good, or was I accomplishing it to make money, or to impress people, or to get further along, or to be remembered, to be invited to a stage, or whatever that was? And I'm always going to be a speaker. I'm always going to be a writer. I will always coach. I have gone back to coaching one on one, and those are my natural things, and I enjoy doing them. I just don't want to do them at the pressure that I have done them the last 22 years.
And back in January, I took a group of entrepreneurs to Disney World. Disney World's my happy place. It's where I find inspiration for a lot of the books, a lot of the marketing that I do. I even wrote a book called Marketing the Magic, and the secrets come in
I
the
just got
opportunity.
that in the mail from you. Thank you, I believe.
And the it was great because it was just a small group. I had originally said, hey, 10 people. A couple of them couldn't show up because of medical reasons. A couple couldn't show up because of plane incidences. So we had, 4 people plus myself and my wife, and it was just great. Maybe I didn't make as much money as I had hoped, right? But we drove down because the planes were a mess. So 16-hour drives nonstop. I don't recommend it, but we did it. Um, it was incredible because I had this one-on-one. Uh, it wasn't much, this intimate relationship with these people, but I just felt inspired. I felt empowered. I felt, hey, you know what? They're coming here because of me, to learn the secrets that Disney has to offer. And to me, that was the best thing ever. And so, it inspired me to do more of these events. And I'm not taking on a lot of people. You come to these events, it's only going to be a small group, 10 max. And to me, that's great because I hate crowds. I don't want these 300 event seminars where you feel like, ew, someone's touching me. I want these 10 people. That's it. And so,
I'm so
yeah.
happy you shared that story because I had completely forgotten that in June of last year, I did a vision quest at my house, and you could only put 12 people in. And I had never done anything quite that small before. But while I was helping other people go through 3 days of what do you want in 5 years? What can you envision that you want for yourself? And what are you going to do to create it? That while they were doing it, I was doing it
Mhm.
without even being conscious of it. And at the end of the vision quest, I remember thinking, I really want to shake up my life a little bit and experiment because I like to frame things as everything's an experiment.
Mhm.
And what would it be like for 6 months just not to have all this pressure?
Right.
And of course, all the fears pop up, all the fears of, well, in 6 months, will anybody remember you? Or would you be able to go back to business? Or would you have lost so much uh, people knowing what's going on in your life? And I thought, well, I'll just take that chance.
Hmm. Yeah. And as I get older, I realize that I don't want to be in front of the computer all the time. I don't want
Oh
to be
no,
designing content
no,
and I'm not going to call them non-gracious clients because some of them aren't, but the ones that I work with appreciate what I do. Um, but you know, it's not fulfilling. You know, coaching clients, taking them on trips, that was fulfilling. That was fun. And it didn't feel like work. And it was like, oh, I could do this all day long.
Because you were in your happy place
Yeah. You
instead
know,
of some horrible room at the Holiday Inn.
well, and then my wife and I thought, well, why not? Why just Disney World? Why can't we go all over the world?
Yes.
Take entrepreneurs to Berlin or to, other places, London and this and that, and make it an event, where they're learning about culture, they're learning about legacy, they're learning about, all these things that can improve their business, but it's not just at one place. Now every year you're doing something different. And then I interviewed somebody, and he takes trips of to Ghana to and he goes through, and he explores the ancient slave trade. And I thought, "Ah, that's awesome." And he said the last trip he took, 17 people went with him. So I'm thinking, you know, if this guy's doing it and he's having fun, you know, and
Yes.
now I'm not competing against AI. I'm not competing against other people. I'm taking people on, you know, energetic trips where it's not just a vacation, it's a learning experience.
I'm happy you said that because I have a good friend who's she's a horsewoman, but she makes money for all of her horses by being a day trader. And
Wow.
she's, I mean, very wealthy, smart woman. She gets on at 6 in the morning. She's off by noon every day. And she says, I need 100 grand a week just to pay for the horses. So she does really well. But she and I were talking, and she asked me the question. She said, in the next 5 years, what businesses do you think will be safe from AI?
Mhm,
She said, because those are the businesses I'm thinking about investing in.
mhm,
And so she listed a few things that I agreed with her were very moved by just the personalities and the people, and this would be one of them for sure, because AI can't take you to Berlin. I
mhm.
mean, they can give you a text, I
Yeah.
guess. So I really am considering that in my next version of myself. Is like, what can I do that I'm not butting heads with AI?
Mhm,
On a side note, while I was at home, or taking my time off, I cleaned up some things and changed things around a little bit. And the companies, even the smallest ones, that are now letting AI answer their phone. Um, like I had my bank overcharged me for something recently, and it took me 45 minutes to get a human being, no matter how nice I was, and representative, associate,
mhm,
operator, any prompt I could give it. Uh, so I promptly went down to the bank and took all my money out. And they said, why? I said, because I'm not dealing with AI and wasting 45 minutes of my life over a $10 you
mhm.
overcharge me thing. Oh, we'll take and give you the money back. You can't give me the 45 minutes back.
No, and here's the problem with AI, and we experienced this a couple weeks ago. Um, all of our voices, because we're entrepreneurs, we're on videos, we're on podcasts, we're everywhere. AI can clone our voices. And then if they deep dive into things, they can call us up or call banks up or credit cards up with our voice. And because we put our birthdays on social, we put our parents, maiden names on social, they can figure all that stuff out. And so, my wife got a call, and she's answering these questions because it came up fraud line. And I'm thinking, what is she doing? And I said, can you backtrack and tell me what you just did to that caller? Oh, they wanted my name and they wanted to know if I authorized this. I said, but you didn't give them your social or anything? No, no, no. But it sounded weird. I said, you know what? Call the number on the back of your credit card. And she did. They had no recollection of that call. And so she called the bank. And the bank, said, well, we're using AI to verify everything. I said, yeah, but if my voice is cloned, how are you going to know if it's not me? And they said,
That's a
well,
good point.
you can opt out, but we recommend you don't. I'm like, you recommend that I don't because you're going to get my card frauded
Well,
again.
I,
And I just said,
I,
this is just the way we're going with AI. I love it as a tool, but with every tool, it can be used the wrong way.
right.
And if they're copying our voices, if they're copying our mannerisms, they're copying our personality, then it's I don't know. I think we're in dangerous waters, and I think that some of us need to step back and say, "Hey, look, is this really what we want to do in the next couple of years?" You know?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think that decision will be made by small entrepreneurs. I think that decision is going to be made by greedy corporations. And I really understand, we're just going to call them the big box corporations, just in general. But like a couple of days, my air conditioning unit went out. Something's wrong. I thought it was needed Freon. The first day of hot weather, of course.
Hmm.
You have to laugh because that's just that's how life is. And the people I've worked with for at least 2 or 3 houses, so a long, long time, their phone is I mean, it's a small local company. Their phone is answered by AI, and I can tell that right away.
Hmm.
And I I had a back number that I'd had from a long time ago, so I actually got into the company. And so the owner keeps saying, "Well, I saved all this money
Hmm.
replacing the people who answered the phone." I said, "But you do realize it took me 20 minutes and I never got really through to you. I couldn't explain." They have 3 prompts primarily.
Hmm.
That's it. If you can't put what you need in those 3 prompts, it just loops.
Yeah, yeah.
So I use AI a little. I use it for correcting spelling and grammar on things. Can you format this for me?
Hmm.
But I'm not letting it actually write for me.
Yeah.
And I do know authors that are just putting in the outline and letting the book write it.
Hmm.
But it feels like AI writing.
Yeah. There's no personality, and I've noticed you can take one thing from, let's say, ChatGPT, put it into Perplexity or put it in an email, and every single one will try to, correct each other. And I'm like,
Right.
this is just dumb, and even our emails now are integrated with Google AI or whatever it is, always trying to spell correct me. And I'm
Uh,
like,
it's infuriating. I'm also finding on social media since it came back, and I don't know when this started, is I'll post something and answer to somebody, but it won't let me send it.
yeah,
And I'm like, and then it's going, "Let me help you write this," and I'm speaking to it not very nicely, going, I can write it myself. Let me just send it. So
mhm,
now the only way I can send it, sometimes I can't send it at all, but sometimes I have to like get out, go back to the original post, and then just hit comments, and then it'll be there setting,
mhm,
but there's an error to say. But this is a grand waste of time.
yeah, but it's. And I've discovered, over the years, and you and I have gone back and forth on this too, is that we've had websites for 20 years. We've had all this content, and so people search us and they can find us. But this next generation of entrepreneurs, they don't have websites, they don't have books, they don't have podcasts. They just put their stuff on social every single day, and I'm thinking, what is this? They don't. I don't know if they don't believe in creating breadcrumbs that people can find them, or they just, you know, what I call is the fishbowl effect. You're an expert in this one little area, but nobody else can find you because it's frustrating.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm a part-time artist. That's my fun. I don't really try to sell my work because I used to sell everything else. I don't need to sell my work, so I either gave it away or we hang it up. Like I did these 2 pictures.
Hmm.
I love palm trees. So that's fun. But I've talked to some other artists, and I've asked for their cards. They don't have cards.
Hmm.
I said, well, what's your website so I can find out more about you? Well, I don't have a website. And then one lady told me the other day that what she understands is because of AI, websites are going obsolete. And I said, well, I can assure you my website is not going obsolete because people all over the world can find me by typing my name in.
Hmm.
And you got stuff you're trying to sell and you don't have a card and you tell me to go to Facebook to find you. I'm sorry, I'm too lazy to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not lazy.
Yeah. It just, you know,
It is a very strange thing.
it's lazy marketing. And, maybe it's because we've been in the trenches. We've studied the marketers. We have friends, Joe Polish and Dan Kennedy, and they're great copywriters. They're great marketers, and their mindset for business is just phenomenal. We've been learning this stuff for a long time. It's don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread it out. And yeah, AI is great for indexing all these things. But if I go to AI and say, look, who's a marketer that's written books that takes people to Disney? Guess what? My name's coming up. You know, um, but these people who just put their stuff on Facebook or LinkedIn and nowhere else, and then they wonder why they can't be found. Come on.
They can't make any money.
And this is why I blog every single day. I don't have to. There's probably people out there that, Rob, I'm sick and tired of reading your stuff. Great. But when you go to search me, stuff comes up.
Right. And current stuff.
And people are like, well, yeah, but blog, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to. No. I've been on social since same time as you, as 2009. There's always something to talk about. All these books, there's something to talk about. Granted that I don't always want to be on social, just like you. I find it's tedious, time consuming, but there are programs that you can load all your stuff in, your blogs, your videos, and have it auto cycle through everything. So you don't have to be on the computer all the time. You got to step away from the things that drag you down every single day so that you can have fun and do what you want to do. And when I started Anspach Media in 2001, because I had the carpet cleaning business and all these other things that I was doing, I thought I had to be in front of the computer all the time. I thought I had to do this and this and this. But as I got older, as I realized, yes, I have a legacy I want to, leave behind. Is my legacy going to be sitting in front of a computer posting to social all the time? Oh,
We
no
hope not.
way. It's crazy. But that's the next generation. That's all they do. And I see this person who I admire on LinkedIn, younger person, single mom, constantly every 10, 15 minutes posting on LinkedIn. I'm thinking, when do you have time to do anything? If you either have your phone in front of you or your computer and you're just screaming at people and it's just noise.
Well,
I don't get it.
I actually know some people like that, and I always think, okay, you've got a mother's blog, and you're not there to mother.
Mm-mm.
You're just there to share. It doesn't exist if I can't post it, kind of thing. So, well, I think it's very important that people start to be aware that life can just change on a dime and everything can disappear. And that if you don't have a really solid view of yourself and what you want in life, to go forward and not let the noise from the world constantly guide you.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly have been through phases in my life where I attempted to follow some trend for marketing. Uh, and I was a dismal failure at it. I mean, it didn't work for me. Maybe it worked for them. Fantastic. I've also been in rooms because of, I've been involved in very large coaching rooms where people admitted that what they were selling didn't work,
Hmm.
but they continued to sell it. And by the way, I always had those people removed because if you have no integrity, I don't really want you in my room.
Hmm.
And they didn't see a problem with admitting, and there are some big names here that everybody would know
Hmm.
when they admitted this technique that we taught in this book really didn't ever work for us that well. But, they sold a bunch of books
Hmm.
and wasted people like me and everybody else's time attempting to duplicate a success that was a fraud to begin with.
Hmm.
So I only needed a couple of those to kind of pay attention to. I don't have to market like everybody else. In fact, I intend to not market like everybody else. The more different you are, the more unique you are.
Hmm.
And shockingly enough, being gone for 6 months makes people want you.
Yeah, yeah, because I was like, "Hey, where's Lee? What's going on?" And I was concerned. I'm trying to reach out, and the secretary's like, "Oh, man, she took a walkabout," and I'm like, "What?"
What? But people were asking, calling up, going, "What the hell is a walkabout?"
Hmm. Yeah, it's like, okay, when's she coming back? So it's. I just had a client reach out after 8 years. They neglected their website for 8 years, and the site went down, and they contacted me, and I'm like,
Shocking.
"What do you want me to do about it? I don't have passwords. I don't know what's going on." And we went through this whole process, and they must have given me passwords to everything that they had except the website. So I spent the whole day tracking down this stuff. So they finally did get me the right information, and I fixed it probably within 10 minutes. But I kept telling them, you need to have maintenance on this. At least once a year, have someone step in and fix all. Because you had outdated plugins, you had 50 of them that didn't work, you had all these problems, and no, I think I'm good. I'll wait for another 8 more years and you can fix it again. 8 more years, I'll be gone. I'll be doing something different. I'm not fixing nothing. I just, no.
See, that's the other thing about reevaluating your life is where are you ignoring things you should really pay attention to because you're too busy performing,
Hmm.
and that you should really get serious about that. And I mean things like your health, your your mindset, your heart set, all of that. I mean, what's really important.
Hmm.
My life has been so wild. There's been so many ups and downs and turns and twists, and it's like I call it a beach novel. There's parts of my life where people like that couldn't have possibly happened, but oh yeah, it happened.
Hmm.
And so just being in the present a little bit more and appreciating what you have and savor it a little bit more. Like the people who live on the beach, like where I live, they miss the sunrises, they miss the sunsets because they're on their phones.
Hmm.
Or if they are out there, they're looking at the phone versus nature, which
one of the things that I've been complaining to Disney for a long time, and they're finally trying to take notice, is that they have these brilliant apps that you can cruise through Disney, and you can schedule everything and buy stuff, and you're on your phone all the time checking times. And I'm like, yes, but this is an immersion. When you come to Disney, you don't want to be on your phone. Get rid of it. And now they're starting to listen. They're starting to see that people on their phones are not taking in the brilliance of what Disney's all about. And they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we get people to pay attention, to not be on their phones? But you've already ingrained it in them, so it's going to take time.
so think of the last concert you went to that everybody, instead of watching the actual concert and the people performing, they have their phone and they're looking at it because they might look at it later.
Hmm.
And I've actually asked people, did you ever go back and look at that? No, not really.
Well, the last concert I went to, 1987, Bon Jovi. Philadelphia. We
I,
didn't have phones back then.
did they have phones back then? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I don't even know. When did cell phones come
I think I
about?
got my
I'm
first
not
cell
sure.
phone in '95, and that was a slim phone. I think before that they had these bag phones, these aqua lungs that you carry with you all the time. But yeah,
The flip phones. Yeah, I heard about those. The flip phones. I was very slow to adapt to smartphones because I didn't want to be held hostage.
hmm
And so at a certain time every night, my phone gets cut off and put into a room by itself because it's vibrating these horrible energetics to the world. And I don't open it until after I have gotten up in the morning and done my routine of journaling and reading and taking time to decide my life. I'm not going to let that influence me
yeah, and I think that's
too
a
early.
smart thing because I put mine right on my dresser, right next to me while I'm sleeping, and I swear probably 4 or 5 times a night I'll wake up, check my phone. And then I'm like, oh, why am I only getting 4 hours sleep a night?
Well, not only, Rob, let's stop doing that for many reasons, but one, you're never really getting into a very deep sleep where all your creativity lies.
hmm
That really affects your health. It also affects your creativity terribly. And the energy that these electronics emit are very, very detrimental to your health.
hmm
I've had some clients who I had a client who actually has brain cancer, and she was actually told it was from your phone.
hmm
And the doctor said, I can't go out in public and say this because they'll sue my pants off and take everything I have. But I can honestly tell you, this gal, that you have brain cancer from your phone.
hmm
So I cut it off. I cut all my electronics off. For a while, I actually cut off the whole internet through the whole house off at night. And talk about better sleep.
hmm
It's shocking how much better sleep you have with no internet.
Yeah, my wife swears she can hear the electricity running through the house. I can't hear it, but
Well, women have a higher sensitivity rate for that kind of stuff usually. So
so
you
how
should.
do
If we do nothing else, Rob, if I could convince you to not allow, remember how that's training you that I've got to check the phone.
yeah.
Who is so important in your life that it would interrupt the greatest healing thing you have is sleep.
hmm
So
I think we should all go back to being Amish. No phone.
I don't necessarily want to be Amish, but
Although
I
although
I
my Amish contractor who came and did my roof, he's got a cell phone, and I'm like, yeah, but where do you put it? You're not allowed to have it in your house. He says, I put it in the barn. We're allowed to have electric in the barn.
okay. Okay. Our rules in life, this is a great example of insanity about rules, okay? I mean, this is perfect. But I don't want anything controlling me. I don't want the phone controlling me. Uh, Even when I deal with people, I let them know, look, I go to bed early
hmm
because uh, I have learned in life through all my research about health, because I plan on being healthy a very long time, is if you don't sleep and really sleep well, your organs don't work properly
hmm
and your brain doesn't work properly. So I go to bed around 9:30 and get a good night's sleep, and I feel great the next day. But nobody is so important that I have to look at them at 3 o'clock in the morning, Rob. Nobody. Oh, and before we end today, I will say that also taking a 6-month walkabout, I removed so many people from my life that I needed to remove from my life who were hanger-oners,
hmm
uh, energy suckers, used me for private coaching, pretending to be friends, that kind of stuff. I completely released them. So I don't have all these really hanger-oners.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is that the people that you attract will end up spending quality time with you. They want to spend more money with you, and you're dealing with less hassles, less stress, less everything. You can work 2 hours a day and still make the same amount of money you were making working 10 hours a day.
That is actually very true. And the fact that, in fact, Dan Kennedy said to me, he said, "I think, Lee, you did the most brilliant money making thing you could possibly do for people to suddenly realize, where is Lee Milteer?
Hmm.
What happened to Lee Milteer? I mean, she was everywhere. Now she's nowhere.
Yeah.
What happened?" And the people who have reached out and said, literally, when you're ready to speak, when you're ready to coach, when you're ready to do anything, please let me know. Let's
Hmm.
work something out. Now, I could have advertised months on Facebook and never gotten that.
Right.
That's the best client. Anybody who comes to you.
Hmm.
And remember, people want what they cannot have.
Yeah.
If you're there all the time, 24 hours a day, and the other thing I'm telling all the people who are in the mindset business, I said, look, you're giving all this fabulous information every day. And at the bottom, you're saying, oh, if you really want a deeper dive, you can sign up for my blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, you've been lifting your skirt, showing everybody everything for a long time.
Hmm.
And what is there to pay for?
Yeah. Yeah.
So stop that.
I do give a lot of information away, but I don't give it all away.
Exactly. You don't do the how and the where and all that stuff.
And the last book I put out, the Wait There's More, the dirty secrets marketers use to make you buy stuff you don't need. I contemplated whether I should write that or not because all my friends are marketers. Dan Kennedy's a brilliant marketer. But we've trained ourselves to use these tactics to trick people into buying stuff when really all we have to do is be ethical marketers and we'll get the same approach and we'll get better types of clients. I don't want clients that I had to sucker into buying something and then have them have buyer's remorse because, oh, Rob tricked me. No,
Oh, no.
I'm
I
using
can't.
ethical marketing to help you buy stuff that you actually want.
Yes. Yes. No. I have a very high integrity bar.
Mhm.
And my joke is, I have enough karma. I don't need to add any more karma to my
Right.
life. So I'm not going to deliberately cheat anybody or do anything that they feel is not on the highest above board thing.
Yeah.
And when I smell other people doing it, I lose respect for them.
Yeah.
There's two kinds of people on earth. There are servers, and you and I would consider ourselves servers, is that we give freely information, that
Mhm.
we really do want to help you. And then there's the self-servers who only do things for them to get something.
Mhm.
And the more I read about, and I'm just making this a very simple thing, between serving and self-serving. Of course, when you serve someone, you're going to do some self-serving because you feel good about helping someone else, or maybe they did business with you or something like that. But it's all about intention.
Mhm.
And if I have to trick somebody, and remember I was with Dan and Bill for Peak Performers for all those years, and then Adam Whitty with Renegade. And if anybody even made a hint of, well, let's put this into the pitch,
Mhm.
and I knew that we weren't going to actually follow up on it, I was like, nope, I'm not on board with that. I will not pitch that. I'm not going to talk about that because, again, I already got enough karma.
Yeah.
I'm not adding to my list of
Yeah.
not being honest and above board.
Yeah. And it was just my frustration of dealing with everybody was trying to funnel me this and funnel me that. And I'm like, but you don't even know me. Why don't you understand what my needs are first before you try to funnel me into something? I hate funnels. I just think they're the most impersonal marketing tool that people are using today.
Well, that's another one of those areas that just overwhelmed me with technology and frustration. And the type of people that I got were not really the kind of people I really wanted to work with. So I gave all that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty much, if you want to deal with me, you need to call me.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that not only did you step away from the confusing, frustrating technology, but you stepped away from a business that probably wasn't serving you the way that you really wanted it to serve you. And now you've come back stronger, you've come back more clear, more focused, and you know exactly who the type of client that you want to serve.
Yes, and just being away for 6 months and briefly saying I was on a walkabout, the number of inquiries of, hey, I would love to do that, but I have no idea even where to start and how to do it. And could I sign up for one of your Vision Quest days? And I'm like, okay, well, we'll put you on a waiting list, and we'll come. And I do make, it's a 26-page application.
Wow.
I mean, it's really, because if you're interested in something like that, I have really got to know, am I the right person for you?
Mm-hmm.
And are you really serious about this? And so, I mean, it's not like it's, single line, 26 pages. There's lots of lines in between. But if that person is accepted, I already have all the information of how to actually help them get to where they want to go, be a true guide for them versus the people who paid $10,000 to get the title, I'm a life coach.
So,
Every time people do that, I always go, have you lost your mind? That is insane.
mm-hmm.
You should only be a coach if you actually have the creds to do what you're coaching.
Yeah, I it took me 30 years. Been an entrepreneur for 31 years now. So I think I've learned a few things here and there. But there's still people out there. Oh, Rob, okay, you wrote all these books. So what? What can you actually do? That's
Okay,
it. That's all I do is write books.
okay,
And those are the types of people I really don't want. If they're coming to me and saying, Rob, I appreciate everything that you're doing. I want to hire you. But then, the other people who question my sanity of writing all these, go away.
okay, so if you can just always remember, and I tell all my clients this, remember there are two kinds of people. There's people who serve and there are people who self-serve. And if you're dealing with a self-server, they're going to suck the marrow out of your bones.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what you give them, it will never be enough. And the minute I know they're a self-server, I'm pretty much unavailable.
So how do people find you? How do they
Oh,
not be
how do people find me? Okay. Well, they can go to milteer.com. Here, I always have this. This is my, my very high-tech poster board. Milteer.com. But I do have a free gift for them. It's something I've given away for a very long time. It's called 5 Types of Energy. And if you go there and sign up, you'll get 5 different videos, which is about life currency. You'll get mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial energy. And they're 5 minutes each. That is it. You'll get 1 a day for 5 days. And what that will do for you is simply awaken your mind to that your energy is your currency. And how are you spending your currency to get the best you can possibly get. So you can find me at milteer.com, and I'm easy to find. I have one of those websites.
So everybody, please head over to milteer.com.
Milteer.com.
Sign up and get those 5 types of energy. And, also go to Amazon. Support Lee. Buy her books. Learn stuff.
Oh, yeah. We got great books. My last 2 books are The Magic of Prayers,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't really intend to write, but I was energetically wrote. And people have said, which shocked me, that these were the best prayers they'd ever seen in their life. It's 70 short prayers. So, but my latest book is called Activate Your Inner Power, a book of guidance messages. And the reason this book is so unusual is you can think of any problem, just hold the book, open it up, and it'll give you your answer. So here's the answer for right now. Love who you are right now. At the end of the day, your longest commitment and your best friend and confidant is yourself. It is only you that will save you from yourself, and then an action plan and so forth and so on. And if we have a minute, I'll just explain. When I was 12 years old, I went to my dad with what I considered an adult problem. And he said to me, we had a small library, and he said, go in and look at the library, and whatever book calls to you, open the book, and there is your answer. And I thought this was the most hilarious, stupid thing I'd ever heard. And so he left me in the library. I did that. I found a book. I opened it up. I opened it to the page. I went right to the paragraph that completely gave me the correct answer. And I remember at 12 years old thinking, well, if I was to ever write a book, this would be the book I would really like to write. Well, it's my 17th book, but I still got to write it. So I love this book. It does really well. And it's a great gift for anybody who is sometimes struggling with what should I be doing with myself right now? And by the way, just because I wrote the book doesn't mean I don't use it. Every morning I look at this book, and I also do my The Magic of Prayers. And of course I have business books and all kinds of good stuff out there, but I'm particularly fond of these soul-driven books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I write my books. Sometimes it's not for the readers. Sometimes it's therapy for me, and every book tells a different message or different story or different attitude of what was Rob thinking that time. But now, people say, well, Rob, you're making buku bucks with your books. I write these books because, one, I want to write. I love writing. I didn't like writing in high school, so any any classmates will know that I hated English. And they always question my saying, you wrote what? You hated English. But here I am writing these books, helping people publish their books, because it's what I do. It's who I become. And not every book is a bestseller. Not every book is going to make you millions. Some of them I wrote just because I wanted to help people. The Can Go to Hell series, great series of books. Will
Oh yeah, those are
how
great.
to fight back against slumlords and debt collectors and the IRS and HOA boards.
And I have them.
And they're consumer advocacy books.
Yes. They're very, very interesting books.
At the end of every book, there's like 20 template letters you can use to fight your cause. That was a passion project. The legacy book, the lessons from the dojo book. These are books that I really wanted to write. The message is out there. It resonates with people. They love it. And if I can just help one person a day, that's my goal. I don't like these posts. I want to help 1 million people in 10 years. Whatever. Maybe that's your goal, but it's never going to happen. But I can help one person a day. And that's all I want. I stepped away from the big visions because to me, they take up too much time, too much energy, too much frustration, where I can have smaller, bite-sized visions every day and still enjoy my life. It's just me.
So many wives, mentors have always said to me in my studies that, remember, you always teach what you need to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always seen that. It's like whatever I'm researching or stuff like that, it's obviously I need to learn from it. And I can honestly say that I get more out of my speeches than almost anybody.
Yeah. And the books on Disney came about because my love of Disney. I go there every year. It's just, again, my happy place. It's where I learn. It's where I think. It's maybe maybe you don't like Disney. That's okay, but you will learn more about marketing, about customer psychology, about what matters than in most books out there. Plus, you'll have fun reading it.
Absolutely.
So everybody, I know this was a long podcast episode, but it's always worth it when Lee's here. So go to milteer.com and
thank you.
Discover the power of stepping away, because honestly, I think it's going to benefit you. And I see what it's done to Lee.
it takes a little guts to do this because you're breaking away from the pack, but I assure you, learning who you really are and what you really want and going in that direction, it's worth everything. So thank you so much, Rob. It's always a pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
See you guys on the next episode. Adios.